Okay guys, part 4 in the Six Nations preview series, and we are talking right now about Italy. Now, a couple of changes here, and probably the biggest of all of them is the change of captain. Sergio Parisse will be playing his final season for Italian rugby this year, and in comes a new captain in Luca Biggie. Now, Parisse has been a stalwart for this team. He's played 142 caps. He has said that he wants to finish his career in Italy, playing at home, so he will earn a number of caps. He's committed to be available for the home games this year. Perhaps he wasn't satisfied with the greatest result that Italy has had against the All Blacks, obviously with the draw in the Rugby World Cup, but he certainly wants to go out on a high, and it's probably, given his contribution to Italian rugby, he probably deserves to go out on his own terms, so fair enough there. There are three new caps in this Italian team. So very much a settled squad that competed at the Rugby World Cup. And that's part of my concern for this squad, is that the major change we have here is at captain, but outside of that, there is no lot of changes. There's certainly no injection of change. And I think Italian rugby needs to go through some sort of change if they want to be competitive at this level. They've always struggled. There's been calls to replace Italy at the Six Nations. I would like to see them start doing something different to really evolve their style, include additional players, try to be competitive. Now, if they are able to pick one win up this year, that's probably a successful season, probably a successful tournament for Italy. Pains me to say that, but it's probably true. If they could pick up 2 wins in particular, I think that would be a great result for Italy. Their draw, they have France at home and Scotland away. And those are the 2 games that they'll really be targeting in this tournament. I think seeing them get over the top of Ireland, Wales, or England is just a step too far. But they may have some luck against those 2 teams. As I said, balanced, France at home, Scotland away. So they might be able to pick up a win there if they're able to pull everything together. Outside of that, there were a couple of players that I saw at the Rugby World Cup that I thought were quite impressive. I liked Federico Razza. He's the guy that pulled the no-look pass, the lock that pulled the no-look pass against Namibia. And I thought they had, between the Namibian game and Canadian game, they actually had some really good sustained periods of attack. And I'd like to see them pull that all together more frequently against the bigger teams. They certainly can't seem to do that consistently on the world stage, so that's another thing to look out for. The other guy that I like is Bram Steyn. I thought as a running loose forward, he played really, really well at the Rugby World Cup as well, scored a couple of tries there against Canada. So perhaps he'll get more of the range now that Sergio Parisse is no longer in this team. He's obviously loose forward. Maybe he'll get more of the open running workload there for this Italian team and can show more of his skill set. Outside of that, it's hard to see where the changes will come here for this Italian team. I will be watching them enthusiastically because I'm watching every single game of the Six Nations. But what I'd like to see is them use more of that attacking flair that they demonstrated against Canada and Namibia. Granted, it's only Canada and Namibia, but they have to do something right. Otherwise, they'll just continue to be beaten in the Six Nations, and there will be continued calls for their removal from the Six Nations. Harsh, but true. That's how I stand. And that's all I have to say about Italian rugby, guys. So that's part 4. And let me say this as well. If they can get a win against one of these teams, either France or Scotland, I think that's a great result for them and it should be celebrated. It's a great outcome for the tournament, right? It will certainly show some progress for Italian rugby, something that hopefully they can build on. So if they can get a win, guys, it should be celebrated. Give them a pat on the back. Congratulate Italian fans. But outside of that, it's going to be very interesting to see how they go. Part 5 is coming in 1 hour, guys. Next, we are talking about Scotland. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, guys, because you won't want to miss. You'll get the notifications when that video drops. Like this video if you liked it. Please comment down below and let me know what you think about Italian rugby, the state of Italian rugby, and what can they do to improve. I'd love to hear from you. Give me a bit more education on this subject, guys. I have started watching European rugby a lot more this year, so I'll start to fill in some of the blanks, but I want to hear from you and I want to know more about Italian rugby. Outside of that, guys, come back because I'm going to do my final prediction in a couple of hours. Make sure you tuned in for that. I'm going to tell you who I think wins the overall Six Nations.